Hey guys, former WWE superstar Hornswoggle, and you are now somewhere in the ring.
The following podcast is scheduled for one recording with no time limit. Making their way down to somewhere in the ring, Andrew Sanford and Ryan Sprague.
Also, this is Somewhere in the Ring, a podcast where we talk about wrestling, mainly WWE stuff, as sometimes other stuff. But look, let's be real. I can't act like we talk about other stuff when I reveal what's behind the camera. Oh yeah!
Look at that.
Look. I may or may not have received this thanks to our good friends at Ringside Collectibles.
Oh yeah,
Jey Uso right at the front there. John Cena running back. Y'all, this thing is insane. It's insane.
Is that the elite scale ring?
Yes, the mat. Like I had to stretch like a cloth thing over the mat. Like it's the rope. Like no more. I remember I had a ring probably in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it was like the ropes were hard to get on, and they would come up. And no, not this thing.
Yeah, man.
I'd have to break this thing.
It's come a long
to get
way.
these ropes off. It's crazy. The stairs are great.
Wait a second. I don't see a Prime logo on there. I don't see a cricket. Where's the cricket logo? What is going on here?
Where's the Real American Beer logo?
Yeah, I was about to say I wrote Real American Beer into the corners of each with a permanent marker, just to be clear. This was a gift.
How long did it take you to build it first? I got to ask.
30 minutes.
Okay.
It wasn't that bad. It was definitely it's one of those classic things where like anytime you look at instructions, you feel a little bit like Homer Simpson trying to put together a grill. You know what I mean? Like Le Grill, what the hell is that? Like that kind of stuff. So for a minute I looked at it and I was like, this thing is going to be impossible. And then I used my dumb brain and took a second. And then it was perfectly. Strapping the mat on was the hardest part, huh?
Okay. I see Cena. I see Jey Uso. I think that's Cody on the ground, and then we got some Braun Breaker.
Is that
we got Braun Breaker?
Wow,
it is. And I would be remiss if I did not bring up the fact that the ring comes with an excellent Rhea Ripley figure. That comes with she's riding the Judgment Day flag on the back. That's probably the only downside because y'all, I'm real sick of Judgment Day. We'll get into that later. I'm glad she left. We have a very special guest on the show today. We can't spend the whole time talking about this exquisite ring that you can purchase from Ringside Collectibles, and you should. But Joey Esposito, friend of the show, is back. Yes,
I was like,
joining us.
Who's the special guest?
It's you, Joey.
The prolific Joey Esposito back in the ring.
Joey Esposito. It has to be back because he's got more stuff to promote, as is he is wont to do. I'm just going to get it out of the way now. Usually, we don't swear on this show, but The Rock says this. I think Ryan and I last year were like, look, if The Rock says something on TV, then we're okay saying it on the podcast. Joey has a new comic book coming out called Shit Kickers. Now, while The Rock may have not said shit kickers, he has said he will kick the shit out of people. So we're just going 10 p.m. on basic cable in 2006, and we're just gonna say going to say that word.
It's the USA Network or Spike TV, I guess. At that time.
There you go. Yeah. Joey, real quick.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Shit Kickers right at the top. I want to talk about Shit Kickers before we talk about anything else.
Do it.
Shit Kickers is a series created by myself and Andrea Schiavone, and it's a real, just kind of a buddy comedy meets Starship Troopers, meets Green Lantern, meets Lethal Weapon, meets Big Trouble in Little China. It's about the Cosmic Protection Bureau, which in our world is sort of this, presenting themselves as a benevolent entity protecting the cosmos, but they recruit people using sort of Silver Age comic books. And so it follows a hero named Dylan, who has just recently been demoted into pushing paperwork down in the bowels of the precinct, which is the home planet of the CPB, and is partnered with this grizzled old alien vet named Skiz, who has no time for doing shit. And Dylan is someone who fancies himself a hero, a savior, if you will, and just like really just doesn't have a great perspective on not only his own abilities, but also the role of the CPB in the cosmos, where everything is not as peachy keen as it might seem. And so pretty soon, looking for some adventure and to blast some dicks off, he wants to go into the universe and find a case and to prove his worth, that he doesn't deserve to be down in the bowels, when in fact he very much does. And so yeah, they get into trouble, and it's action with some incredible artwork from Andrea and our colorist Sabrina Filieri and our letterer Lucas Gattoni. It's just a really unique looking book, and it's big action, a lot of humor akin to the Jump Street movies, where there's lots of jokes and things like that. But underneath it all, it's a anti-fascist story about not trusting the systems that are put in place and designed to hold us back, even though they may present themselves as something other. And we're crowdfunding the first 2 issues on a platform called Zoop, which is kind of like Kickstarter, but for indie comics. And we're wrapping
up. Rad, because when you first told me about Zoop, I thought you were messing with me, because I hadn't heard it before. But then I looked in and I was like, oh, this is fantastic, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Kickstarter is awesome, and I've done stuff on there before. But what I like about Zoop is that it's specifically indie comics. And they also are very helpful with the campaign itself. Like they're taking on a lot of the heavy lifting of, customer service and fulfillment and dealing with the printer and all that stuff, which allows us to just focus on wrapping up the series. So it'll be 6 issues. We're funding for issues 1 and 2 right now, with great variant covers from Declan Shalvey and Seth DeMoose, which you can only get through the Zoop campaign. And and so we're working on the last issue. Everything else is done. So, this is a book that exists. We just need the funds to kind of get it into print and into people's hands.
Yeah. Zoop. If you go on Zoop.
Sorry. I had to, guys.
Zoop.
I had to.
Yeah. That's
last time I'll do that, I promise.
And I'll make sure Ryan includes a link in the show notes. You can go to Global Comics. Which is another an answer to how Amazon screwed up Comixology. Global Comics is a new online digital reader that you can read comic books through, and you can read the first issue of Shit Kickers for free.
Totally free.
What?
That's
totally
how confident
free.
We are.
Okay.
I just want to give the first one away for free and hope, and you can also click a link directly from Global Comics that'll take you to the Zoop campaign. But it's a super fun book, and like I said, the artwork is just fantastic. Everyone who reads it is like, this art is incredible, and I have to agree. I'm very proud of the way this book turned out, and Andrea and Sabrina are just really in such a groove, such a unique look for not just our world, but just for comics on the shelves in general. It's just it's really, really fantastic. And so go check it out for totally free. Give it a read, and if you're like, I like this, come throw us $5. It goes a long way.
It's 1 coffee, guys. That's 1 coffee.
Exactly.
In New York City. Maybe 2 in any other city, but
I think almost everywhere. I have this iced coffee was like $5.
Oh my gosh. Talk about fascist. Wow. That's awesome, Joey. Well, I should mention too your other comic I've got.
Ooh, I see
on
it.
Display here.
Thank you.
How do I go solo? I got the first 3 issues. I had to travel to New York City to Forbidden Planet to get the first 3 issues because my Forbidden Planet. Woo. Yeah, right, man. The one in Scotland would not pre-order them for me when they first came out. So I don't know what's up with that. But shout out to Forbidden Planet in New York City, and shout out to you guys. I am absolutely loving it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That's awesome.
Of course, guys. Yeah, you can. There's a link for that in the show notes as well. So check out the Pedestrian. But guys, we're on the official road to WrestleMania. We just had the Royal Rumble. It does. It really, really does. So let's first question off the bat. Were you guys able to watch it live, or were you like me? You had to watch the replay, as it were.
Joey, please, you go first.
Yeah, I watched the replay on the next day.
Same.
Mostly because it started at 3, I think, on the East Coast. In the middle of a Saturday. 6? Was it 6?
6, yep.
Still,
6 for you guys, 11 p.m.
Kind of like
me.
an awkward time, unless I'm going to plan my entire day around it, which normally for the Rumble is the only event that I would clear my calendar for, but there's just too much going on. And watched it the next day, which was great because I could fast forward through all the WWE shop commercials.
What about that sweet Evolve commercial, which we'll get to? That's premiering.
I'm actually pretty excited about that.
I'm pretty stoked for that too.
Yeah, I'm more excited about that than I am Speed. You know what I mean? Like the stupid Twitter show that I assume they're still doing.
Yeah, who's watching that?
Nazis are watching it, Joey. Nazis.
Hey.
Okay.
He was just sending love out to the people, Andrew.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Sending our love out to WWE Speed too. Yeah. Anyway,
I was shout out to David Howard Thornton, friend of the show, who has also been calling out Nazis lately and been getting shit about it. But I watched the replay stubbornly Saturday night. I had to work that night, and I got home close to 11 and thought it's a 6 o'clock show. I'll start the replay at 11:30 probably. That was not the case. I believe what ended up happening is a little after midnight, the Spanish language replay was available, which is this is not the first time. This is not the first time I've had to do that. Apparently, they just don't care about holding on to it if you speak another language. And I was like, okay. So I watched almost the entire Women's Royal Rumble in Spanish with Spanish commentary, which was a lot of fun.
That's how you learn a language, man.
It's true. And then I've learned less, but that probably is a good way to learn. And then I watched the Men's Royal Rumble the same night, interrupted quite a bit by my children who have been sick for days. So I think I was done watching the Royal Rumble at around 3:30 a.m. on Saturday night. Wow. And I didn't even get to watch. I'll just be upfront and honest here. The next day, I watched the Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens match, which I enjoyed. I have yet to watch the tag match. I watched all of Raw last night. I forgot that there was a tag title match in there. I just assumed there's probably some little thing I could skip by.
I think a lot of people forgot. Yeah.
I watched both Rumbles Saturday night and then watched the ladder match the next night.
We'll get to that best out of 3 tag team match.
Oh, is that what it was? It was the best out of 3?
Best out of 3, which
sure. Okay.
We'll get there, Andrew. Okay. We'll quickly walk you through it because there's not much to talk about, in my opinion. However, I do want to give a few facts here before we kind of start, guys, if that's cool.
Sure.
Of course.
I love facts.
Ryan put his outline together. Here we go. Royal Rumble 2025 came to us from the Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. There was an attendance of what the WWE says was 67,540 people. That is massive.
It is.
And Stephanie McMahon kicked off the show. So there we go. There's our little intro to the Royal Rumble 2025. What yeah.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of folks.
That's a lot of merchandise.
Here's what I would like to ask of you two. Going into the Women's Royal Rumble, who did you think was going to win?
Oh, good question. I think who I wanted to win or who I thought was going to win?
Who you thought was going to win. Who I
thought was going to win. It turned out to be who I thought it was going to be.
Gotcha.
To be completely honest. Yeah.
Okay.
How about you, Joey?
So going into it, I honestly wasn't sure. But then I saw, because I was, I'm a human person who was on the internet during the show, and I just forgot, and I saw Charlotte's return was spoiled for me ahead of time. All I saw was that Charlotte came back, and I was like, oh, she's definitely going to win. And I was right.
Yeah. So, well, what's wild too is they announced that on SmackDown SmackDown or Raw the week.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they're like Charlotte's coming back at the Rumble.
So I didn't know. So I wasn't aware of that. I hate when they do that.
Yeah,
they did that last year with. Was that last year with Cody?
Yeah,
coming back, or was that the year before?
So. That might have been the year before.
Yeah,
but it's just. I understand, but it's just like. I mean, I'm glad I didn't see that, even though it was spoiled for me on Twitter. But like, or not Twitter. Sorry, Blue Sky. But yeah, but and now I'm so like fascinated by the reaction to that. I don't know. Everyone seems really mad, and I'm just like, I don't know what you expected.
Yeah, we'll touch on Monday Night Raw as well. That had a lot of fallout from this because, Joey, I'm with you. It was weird to see the reaction to Charlotte Flair after. Spoiler alert, guys. We're gonna run through the women's Royal Rumble in a second, but Charlotte Flair won.
Charlotte Flair won. Yeah, she won. She won the Royal Rumble. Yeah.
She won.
And I thought Bianca Belair was going to win, and to set up her against Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. That being said, I still think that's going to happen, and we'll get into more of that once we talk about Raw.
I agree.
Awesome.
Yeah, for a lot of reasons. But I have some big Cena theories as well that we'll get into. But
interesting.
Women's Royal Rumble, I thought was fantastic, and one of my biggest reasons is something I think that they did that was annoying me about the Men's Royal Rumble. And like, slight spoiler, I enjoyed both the Rumbles. The Women's Royal Rumble kept so many people in the ring at once and had them doing something almost all the time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They were always fighting. They were always grappling. They were doing something. If there were a bunch of people in the ring, they weren't laying on the ground while two people fought in the middle, which is my least favorite thing that has just taken over Royal Rumbles in the past like 7 years.
Yeah.
I don't know why that started. I get it to an extent, but it's also one of those things where I'm like, these are some of the best conditioned athletes in the world. All they do is cardio. I remember learning that 25 years ago when they started Tough Enough, and they were just like, yeah, you guys got to run.
Yep.
Got to run. Start running. Build up that cardio. Like, that's it.
Yeah. It was the same, Andrew. It was the same damn thing when I first started playing baseball. I started playing baseball because I'm like, look, there's like maybe 10 collective seconds of movement in this sport. I just stand there the rest of the time. This is awesome. I don't have to do anything. And then I get to the tryouts and they're like, okay, you're going to do 300 laps around the gym until you puke and pass out. And we're all like, what? And we did. And we passed out and we puked. And I was like, what is going on here? I thought like I picked the easy sport. And they're like, you may have, but like when it's time to run, you need to run. And like you said, that's what wrestling is all about. So I'm glad you brought up Tough Enough, because that I used to watch that and it gave me so much like secondhand asthma. I swear to God.
I also, and a little connection to our friend Joey here is that my favorite piece of trivia about Tough Enough, and this might not have been the first season or whatever, but I remember the Tough Enough house was next to Kelsey Grammer's house. And he really did. He really did not like that. Like, I remember that thing. Yep, I think he tried to like sue them to shoot it someplace else. Some kind of like, or at the very least, like made his complaints very public.
Interesting.
It's barbaric. It's barbaric.
And he would eventually be in a movie with none other than Adam Copeland, of all people. So there you go.
Oh yeah.
Money Plane, Andrew.
Money Plane. Sorry.
Yes, how dare I? First of all, saying that they're in that movie together is a stretch. I'm looking
that's true.
On a laptop right now. That's about the most we see of Kelsey Grammer.
Good point. Very, very good.
The Money Plane monologue that I've seen and nothing else.
Oh my God, I love it. Let's start with. There's one other thing I want to add, guys. The ticker at the bottom of the screen. I saw a lot of people complaining about this thing. I loved it. What did you think of this thing at the bottom? It had, what do I have here? Showed the entrant number, the eliminations, the active participants, and a countdown until the next entrant. So, what are your thoughts, if any, on the ticker? I don't see why people are so passionate about this.
I have mixed feelings. At first, I was like, this is distracting, but then you get used to it. And I like that it goes back to something that I really liked about WrestleMania last year, which is like really leaning into this traditional sports presentation, like a boxing match or something. Yep. And this felt like a continuation of that. Right. Even though it makes it kind of extra silly because it's such a stupid, like, it's kind of like AEW doing wins and losses and stuff. Yep. It's just like, like, what are we doing? Like, who are we fooling? But then, right. On the other hand, it kind of adds to the illusion of competition that wrestling is all about. And I think with the Rumble specifically, it is helpful, particularly in the women's Rumble where there were 1 million people in the ring at once, to kind of keep track of who's eliminated and who did the eliminating and all that sort of thing. So once I got used to the visual of it, I liked it.
Yeah.
I once tried on a Spanish quiz, and got a 0. Okay. I once, when I was done with my 3rd year of Spanish and you didn't have to take any more, my Spanish teacher literally was going into another room to tell people oh, do you want to take AP Spanish? All that kind of stuff. And it was 5-minute meetings for everybody. She and I walked into the other room. She turned to me. She said, I think your time in Spanish is done. And I was like, you're right. and we walked back into the other room. So with that context, as someone who had to watch the first Rumble with Spanish commentary, I found the ticker to be quite helpful. I appreciated it quite a bit. And that carried over into when I got to hear Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. I think if anything that annoyed me is they were literally during the Women's Rumble, if I remember correctly, showing video of Pat McAfee and Michael Cole's reaction to what was going on, because they had an under the table cam.
Yeah.
And I was like, show me the guys I'm listening to. What is this?
I know.
Why are you teasing me? It's just silly. But I like to I think that there is going to be more of that stuff. I think that's just part of TKOs. And I do think it's not I agree with Joey where it's there are some aspects of it that are kind of silly, but then other times where you're just it adds kind of a fun legitimacy to it. It's faux legitimacy, but there is, I like little trivia stuff like that. I like when they're just I think they said at one point I didn't know that Charlotte Flair had wrestled in almost every women's Royal Rumble except for one or one or two. That she's made it to the top 3 in every one that she's been in. There's just fun stuff like that I didn't mind.
Yeah, it's pop-up video or whatever VH1 used to do. I appreciate
it. How dare you act like that's not exactly what VH1 used to do? Oh, it's just pop-up video or that thing I know. Whatever.
I didn't have that channel on 24/7 listening to Michael Bolton growing up. What are you talking? Anyways, let's get to the Women's Royal Rumble match, which started with Io Sky and Liv Morgan. They kicked things off in the match, and crowd went nuts. It was great. I thought this was 2 of the best women they could have started with. What do you guys think?
I love Io Sky, so I was in. I am Liv Morgan out, I will admit.
Fair.
But I was glad to see her early on. Just to me, that signaled okay, she's not going to win. We're not going to have to watch Rhea and Liv again, which they've had some good matches, but my belief in her ability to keep up with Rhea Ripley is it just doesn't work for me really, as much as they're both putting into it. So I was glad to see her enter early. But yeah, it was a strong start, and I think it was Roxanne Perez who came out 3rd, and just
anybody else hear a scratching right now? Anybody else hear that? Or is that just
my
me?
Voice?
No, it sounds like beads, like somebody's jingling beads. Beads?
I did hear that. I don't know what it is.
Oh yeah. I'm right there with you, Joey, about Liv and Rhea. It's one of those tough things where I do feel like there's some like legitimate heat that Liv has right now because she's kind of like obnoxious. But but on the opposite end, I thought like, oh man, they're gonna start her at the beginning and have her win, aren't they? I really thought that was gonna happen for a hot second. Yeah, but I also love the
not happen. Thank God. Yeah.
But I would love to see her in a feud with the same sort of like intensity that she and Rhea have, just with someone more of a physical match. Just like Io Sky would be a great example. Like their stuff in the start of the Rumble was good, and just really having them do a whole angle would be fantastic. Or Roxanne Perez, who I thought was an MVP of this whole thing, but also just in general, the amount of NXT talent who showed up in the Women's Rumble was really awesome. Yeah. And they all just like,
I have a list here, guys, of our NXT and obviously, guys, like we won't go through every entrant and everything.
Sure. Yeah. No.
I've got a few of the bullet points here, but Joey, since you brought it up, our NXT surprise appearances were Lash Legend, Jada Parker, who will be a guest on the podcast in the future. I finally got in touch with her again. Oh, yeah, surprise, Andrew. That's happening.
All right.
Yeah. My favorite from NXT, Stephanie Vacker and Julia. Also, they all Julia's appeared, great. And they had some cool moments where they kind of teamed up during the match, went against each other, and got to show, what they're made of. And I thought it was great to see all these NXT people, for sure.
I really liked the standoff between them and 3 of the 4 horsewomen.
I love that.
We're just missing Monet. Aside from that, like that, I thought that moment was pretty great. I loved, just to piggyback on something we talked about earlier. I think, and it couples into what I think is kind of wrong with Judgment Day at this point. But I want to see Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan have a little program together. And this kind of like, because it seems like for those who may not know, things were apparently at a standstill between WWE and Alexa Bliss. She has not been on TV since 2023. She had just not been in there. There had been little teases about her coming back, and she signed a contract with them Saturday morning and got on a plane to Indianapolis and went there and was in the Rumble. It was supposed to be Shotzi originally. So she goes out there. But what's interesting is everybody assumed that if she was coming back, she would be with the Wyatt Six. However, the Wyatt Six have been sent to SmackDown, and it's been said that Alexa Bliss will stay on Raw. And I would rather, since she's still got the whole like evil Harley Quinn thing going on, and Judgment Day started as this kind of like evil faction that does evil stuff. I want her to get kind of like out eviled, if that makes sense. Like this kind of like, oh, you guys are, Bane style. You only adopted the darkness. I was born in it. Like that, I want that kind of stuff. And they're a physical match. It will be a little difficult to tell who's who when they're wrestling, but I love those pigtails. Like I thought her entrance was great, and I thought the spot where Liv Morgan eliminated her with a code breaker off the apron was one of the best spots of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd have to agree. And this was definitely one of the biggest pops of the night. I think it was the biggest pop of the night. Which is crazy to me, guys. I don't know about you, but like I wasn't really watching when Bliss was in WWE, so I don't know like how far her appeal stretched or reached or anything like that. So yeah, like of course I got goosebumps because I saw the crowd go absolutely apeshit over this woman, but I personally have no connection to her whatsoever. So I don't know. I was torn. I mean, awesome. I think it's great she's back. I can't wait to see what she does. But I mean, I always mistake her and Liv Morgan for the same person. I'm not gonna lie. I know that's horrible to say,
and also neither of them are Candice LeRae. So there's just like I hate to surprise you. I hate to throw some cold water on there, but they're also not this third person that looks exactly the same.
Yeah, I'm a Alexa Bliss fan. There was in the early days of the WWE Network, I think there was I don't remember what the show was, but it was kind of like a behind the scenes documentary about like where superstars came from and their history and stuff. And there was one with her that was really interesting and talking about like an eating disorder and just like her struggles to like get healthy, but also like follow this path that she wanted to follow. And ever since, that really endeared me to her as a performer. And I think like where she differs from Liv Morgan in terms of just presentation is like I buy Alexa Bliss and her insane character and stuff in terms of the like translating that into physicality. I like it registers more with me. Like if she was going up against Rhea Ripley, I could see that as more of a match than
interesting
Liv versus her. So it's weird and it's hard to put my finger on, but it just feels like there's a legitimacy more that I identify with. And that's not to take anything away from Liv Morgan. I feel like I give her shit all the time, but like it's just specifically in that program. It's hard for me to like suspend my disbelief, even in terms of in wrestling terms,
Yeah. Well, and for someone like me who's new to her now, like I can't wait to see what she does now. So like I'm all in. And
I think with Liv too, I think what works is she has a like a rubber face. Liv has some of the best. She can do these huge grins, these like like she's like the tragedy and comedy mask. Like she's really good at reacting and selling and things like that.
Agree.
But Ryan, let's run through these bullet points so we can keep things moving. I will
absolutely,
have to get the boys ready for it.
You got it. We had a TNA appearance. I shouldn't say appearance, debut of Jordynne Grace, which was incredible. Again,
so good,
nuts. I've never seen her in a match. I was absolutely blown away when she lifted.
Well, she was in the Rumble. She was in the Rumble last year.
Oh, you're right.
Last year she was like TNA.
Yeah, she was Knockouts
champion.
Okay.
And now she's on NXT now, right? Like officially.
I don't know. I would be. I know she signed a contract with WWE. I'd be kind of surprised if they sent her to NXT. But
her Death Valley driver to Piper Niven.
Oh my god, that's what I was gonna say, Joey. Man, incredible. She lifted Piper Niven over her shoulders, which is just insane. Loved it. Let's see. We had the return of Alexa Bliss, like we mentioned, and then we got the return of both Trish Stratus and Nikki Bella. Trish, I loved. Nikki, again, not familiar with her. I know she left quite an impression on WWE during and after her runs, but man, to see Trish back in there again. The last time we saw her was that brutal cage match she had with Becky Lynch, which is still one of my favorite matches of the past 5 years. Those were our returns. A lot of good spots, team ups between NXT and WWE stars. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this before we get to the winner and everything. Nia Jax, we got her throwing out like 6 or 7 people at once. What did you guys think of that?
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
And this is coming from somebody who's not you. I thought that they used Nia Jax as a big person very well in this Royal Rumble. I think that sometimes it can be a little bit more annoying. Like when you're Canes or you're like Big Show or whatever would come out and it's just kind of like, okay, how does this even? I thought it like they used it just enough. So like knocking out those 7 people felt believable, but then when she got eliminated, that felt believable as well. There wasn't like a whole shtick about how do we get her out of the ring. You know what I mean?
I agree, except I feel like last year they did the exact same thing where everyone like teams up on her, and then she like does this move, and they all fly away. And
I do recall that. Yeah,
you know, like that felt very familiar to me. But in general, I think it's necessary to have that role filled by somebody, and there's nobody better for that role in the women's division than her.
Yeah.
And so that worked really well. And it's
Bianca Belair, we should mention too, had a moment where she stacked up like 6 people in the corner.
Man.
Oh my god,
so good.
Talk about endurance.
I only learned the other day that Bianca Belair was a weightlifter, and Mark Henry saw her and he signed her. Do you want to wrestle?
Yeah.
Do you want to wrestle? And
she
interesting.
Was like,
yes, baby. Yeah. And she's one of the best in the biz, which kind of cracks
me up. She strikes me as someone who like anything that she's ever tried, she's just like great at.
Oh yeah.
She's like a man.
Yeah.
Would you say that anything she tried, she's the EST at?
Ooh, nice. Well done. This is why you have this podcast, and I'm merely a guest.
Zoop, yeet, swish. I love it.
There we go.
Oh boy. Well, obviously we had the return of Charlotte Flair. I'm just going to summarize it, guys. Here, final 3 were Nia Jax, Roxanne, and Charlotte Flair. Again, huge shout out to Roxanne. To finish third in the WWE Royal Rumble. Second. She finished second, right?
She did, yeah. And I also like that she got the record for being in the Rumble the longest.
In
the Women's Rumble. So
amazing.
Pretty amazing. It seemed like they were elevating her pretty specifically.
Oh yeah.
So
they're ready. They're ready.
That was cool.
Strap the rocket on. But Charlotte Flair was our winner, guys. So I mean, I'm fine with it. I know a lot of it seems like the wrestling community is pretty torn on it, but I like
they're torn on everything. Exactly. I just like
passionate bunch. Yeah.
No one's ever going to be totally happy with anything that happens. But it, especially seeing where the men's Rumble ended, this one felt like this year the women's Rumble was sort of the safe kind of route, or like the more well-worn path of like, here's a known quantity in this role, setting up like a guaranteed WrestleMania banger, and that's what it is. Whereas the men's Rumble is like kind of putting the rocket on somebody new, and going in a direction that we haven't quite seen before. So I don't know.
And I still think that this could lead to that aspect, because it's early. My mind might change in a month. Or they might just do something else. I think Charlotte Flair challenges Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania and loses and puts her over. Legitimately.
That would be awesome.
I really
more
think
Tiffy
that's
time, the
happen.
better. Yep.
Yeah, I think Tiffany Stratton is speaking of rockets. You know what I mean? Like, she's so incredibly popular. She's doing super well, and to have her have a win over Charlotte Flair is going to be fine. Tiffany Stratton goes into the stratosphere if she beats Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. And that's based off of last night on Raw, because even when they were like, they could have a best of 3 between Charlotte and Rhea Ripley, but I don't need to see that.
Seen it already.
Yeah, exactly. So I would very much go through this tag match as quickly as humanly possible.
Oh yeah, we'll go through these other 2 matches really quick, guys. Not a ton to talk about with each. Probably a little more with the ladder match, and then we'll end obviously with the men's Royal Rumble. But we had the tag team championship match, best of 3 falls, Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY. Obviously it's hard to follow a Royal Rumble match, so these guys pretty much had no chance. But I thought they did a good job of getting the crowd going. These are 2 fantastic tag teams. To have a best out of 3 is always fun as well. But I don't know. At the end of the day, it just wasn't a memorable match for me. It was a little confusing at times because they were messing around with some like trick tags, and even the ref got confused at one point. The announcers didn't know if there was actually like a 3 count. It was a mess in my opinion, but that was nothing against the wrestlers themselves. It's just like, how do you even follow a Royal Rumble match? I will mention by the end of the match, we got 2 hooded figures that came in and interfered and left the titles with DIY, and that was none other than the Street Profits. So interesting. Are they turning heel? What's going on there? The crowd
who
loved
won?
it.
Who won?
DIY retained.
Because aren't they heels right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are. Yeah, they lied, cheated, and stealed to get these titles, and they remain. So it'll be interesting because it seems like Street Profits might be heelish too. So we might have a heel versus heel heading into WrestleMania. I don't know.
I think
Any thoughts on this one?
I enjoyed this match more than you did, I think, but it was actually kind of like ruined by the finish for me. In general, I feel like a pay-per-view match should not have like a bullshit ending like that.
Agreed.
That's fair.
It's pretty lame. But I will say both of these tag teams are great, and Chris Sabin in particular. In my notes I wrote he looks like it's still 2006, but then like I kept watching the match. I was like, still moves like it's 2006 too, and like those guys have been doing this for a long time, and I think this is two of the best tag teams, just like technically speaking. A lot of times in tag team matches, you can kind of see the mechanics sometimes of like the planned spots or whatever. But I think with all of these guys, it was just like so seamless and looked so graceful the whole time. I think 2 out of 3 fall matches, particularly after a Royal Rumble, maybe, I don't know, it kind of like the pacing of the match because of, the structure of it or the rules, it kind of like dips in momentum. So like there's a pinfall and then it's just like the air is kind of sucked out of the room and you kind of have to start again. And it just felt like a weird thing to follow a Royal Rumble with. I think it would have been better served if it was just like one continuous match, even if it had the finish that it had. But overall, I enjoyed the performance. I don't think it's like going to go down in the record books as one of the greatest matches of all time or anything, but and it was also nice to see like those sort of wrestlers get some spotlight on pay-per-view. In general, I think any matches in a Royal Rumble that aren't the Royal Rumble are always like not going to be the what's remembered,
Sure. Yeah. I want to see. I didn't see that match, but man, I just want to see all 3 of those teams go up against each other.
Yeah.
Ooh,
let's bring back a 3-team program, man. Come on.
Triple threat tag team, TLC, baby.
Come on.
Hey, speaking of ladders, gentlemen, let's speed through this one so we can make sure Andrew gets into the Royal Rumble talk. We had a ladder match, Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens for the Universal Championship and the Winged Eagle belt, which I've got right behind me here. If you're watching this, oh my God! I mean, we won't go beat by beat, obviously. Brutal. Started in the crowd. They brawled in the crowd, brought it back to the ring, and my God! Oh, before I forget, mini ladder. Kevin Owens busted out, which I thought was
so silly.
Michael Cole made a Hornswoggle reference, which just had me crying.
Did he?
I missed it. He did. He did. But my God, guys, like I was just cringing in pain, like pain by proxy this whole time. What did you think of this match, guys?
I agree. My first note on here is just brutal.
Yeah.
And I think this is I feel like Cody people sometimes forget how good he is in these sort of matches.
Sure.
Like late AEW, he had I think it was a strap match with Andrade that was just like so intense, and it was just like just throwing his like body in the trash, basically. I would say KO, definitely took more of the punishment here. But, it's really great to see Cody do matches like this, and I loved it. I think the story was kind of nothing really. It was kind of like there's no way that KO is going to win, but okay. But as a match, it was awesome.
So here's the crazy thing, because I agree, brutal match. I like that they set up some Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens stuff. Since we probably won't get to it, Raw ended with Kevin Owens attacking Sami Zayn last night. So he's already moved on and he's got a little black eye. Late Saturday night, WWE put it out there that Cody Rhodes was suffering multiple injuries after this match. And that he was going to address those injuries on Friday. I think he's going to give up that belt.
You think it's a legit injury?
I don't know if
what
it's
do you
legit.
mean give it up?
I think they're going to vacate the title. I think they don't want him to lose. I think they don't want him to lose it after everything they've put into him getting it and what he's gone through. But I also think he's been wrestling nonstop for like over a year and a half now and probably just needs some time off. We saw a similar thing, spoiler, with Roman Reigns, where it was announced Monday night that he suffered a bunch of injuries on Royal Rumble, when it's probably just like he wants some time off. And I think that's what they're about to see. I think they are trying to, because The Rock is no longer involved, as far as we know, pave the way for some new stories this year. And I think that we're going to see some other people fighting for that WWE belt. Who it is, I don't know. I'm excited to see. Yeah, but I do think that that's what's going to happen.
Okay. That's,
I don't know. That's so crazy. Because, like, if he's not legit injured, I feel like he would power through to Mania at least and like have that match and then be gone for a bit and return at SummerSlam or whatever. But
I would agree, but I think that they are thinking of I don't think having Cody Rhodes lose at this point benefits anybody. Doesn't benefit him. Wouldn't benefit the person he loses to. I think they have to build to that a little bit more, personally.
Interesting.
I could be wrong.
I don't love that.
I guess
that's fair.
I don't love the let's pause the story. You know
sure.
Like,
let's
how
stories. We're pausing stories.
How are you going to finish it if it doesn't get paused first? Okay,
that's
why the pause button exists. No, I totally. I get both sides of it. I do.
I think they're probably just gonna wait and then have him fight The Rock next year or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? It's gonna be. I think it's one of those things where WWE is really incredible at making stars, as evidenced by the Men's Royal Rumble, and the Women's one. To be fair,
great segue.
I think that they've kind of built Cody Rhodes' star up too much, where having him lose against anybody that isn't I think it is time for him to lose the title, but I don't think they have anybody for him to lose against. And if it was going to be against Roman Reigns, that would be boring. And CM Punk may not. I've gone back and forth on my theories about John Cena. We'll get into it more in a sec, but I think Cody's about to vacate that title.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. All right, guys, let's move to the Royal Rumble men's match before we wrap things up here. This was started by Rey Mysterio and Penta, who started the match, shook hands, 2 luchadors in the ring to start. I loved it. I loved the beginning of this. There's been some controversy. At one point, it looked like Penta went over and both feet hit the ground, but we're just going to move past that. WWE moved past it.
Hell as old as time.
I know. Yeah, just don't watch the replay, guys. Nobody go watch the replay.
My first note on the Rumble is Chad Gable - Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Legitimately.
Yeah,
legitimately,
so man. He really is like the second coming of Kurt Angle in a lot of ways. Also, I think has his own. He's got his own personality, you know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of annoyed that the crowd has taken to doing the "You Suck" chants that they used to give to Angle. I feel like it kind of diminishes what Chad has to offer.
I agree,
and not because you can't tell him he sucks, but because it's like he's inheriting something from another wrestler.
Right. It's like, let's move forward. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
And I love Kurt Angle. Like, but it's like they are different. Like, Kurt Angle was more like a wild animal.
Yeah.
Chad Gable has this like mathlete aspect to him that I love. This kind of like weeby, like he should be like he's one of the kids at the Kids in School Ties who are mean to Brendan Fraser. I'm not saying he's an anti-Semite, but I'm
Matt Damon.
It's like there's like actually that's perfect. There's like a young Matt Damon aspect to him that is annoying and punchable and fantastic. And he leans into it really well.
How about dem apples, Andrew?
Yeah, I keep forgetting that he was called Shorty G for a long time, and had like long hair, and a headband, and thank God that's over. But he's incredible. He's incredible.
Oh man. All right, guys. Well, let's talk surprise returns and appearances. We had not many. One, which I actually appreciated. They left that for the winners.
There were 0 gimmick entrants. 0. Yeah. There was no Hurricane. There was no. Sorry. You're right. You're right.
We're good. Yeah.
But I stand by that, and I still stand by that, and I'll explain why in a second. Because I said to Ryan that I went through a little bit of an emotional roller coaster when they went in the back and told I Show Speed that he was going to be in the Rumble. It was a little annoying.
Also, justice for Tozawa. Come on. Why does he always get shafted?
I know, man. Why the hate? I was going to show the clip.
Give me a break.
You know what? Post-production, I'm going to insert the clip here of I Show Speed, his entire from entrance to end. I'm going to play it right now. Back, guys. So if you're just listening to this, I Show Speed. He's a YouTube gamer, Twitch guy. I believe
he's Ed TV, to my knowledge. He is the modern incarnation of Ed TV. He's constantly filming himself existing in the world, and people watch that for some reason. More power to him. He is not a wrestler, but he went out there and got demolished.
That bump off that spear, dude. Holy crap. But that wasn't it, right?
Yeah, he was not he was not turned correctly for that moment.
He was not.
So to go through it,
very happy.
I know. For those listening, I Show Speed got speared by Braun Breaker, who then threw him over into Otis's arms, and then Otis threw I Show Speed. Tried to throw him through the announce table, but like Andrew mentioned last week, that announce table does not give anymore. So he kind of bounced off of it and into the chair. That I don't know I Show Speed, but my God, like give the man something. Give him a medal. He sold like crazy.
I don't know if he was selling as much as he was like, oh, this is a huge mistake. And I just want to shout out my wife Amanda, who was watching next to me, and neither of us knew who I Show Speed was. I kind of remember him at some point showing up previously, and she made a comment about like, yeah, WWE's always like kind of trying to be everywhere because, you know, like being in movies and now streaming and whatever, which is cool. But anyway, she was like, this guy is definitely going to do a backflip when he gets in the ring. And then he did. I was did. I love you so much.
Oh my God. She had it spot on, Joey. Yeah. And I believe he was the guy who was in the Prime bottle.
That's right. With the Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Situation.
So that was great.
Also got demolished when he was in the Prime bottle mascot costume.
Yes, he did, by Randy Orton, I believe. Yeah.
I think so.
Let's talk about the other appearances, Joey. Andrew is checking on the kids. He'll be back in just a moment. But we had the debut, not the debut, but the appearance of Joe Hendry from TNA. Oh my God, man. So I'm a big fan of this guy. Been following him for a while. His music video for his theme song was filmed literally 300 feet from my apartment, I think, on Arthur C.
Right?
Yes, yeah. I live right next to a park with a huge mountain, and he shot the whole music video there. So immediately I became a super fan. I believe in Joe Hendry, and so does the audience. Like, he got thrown out by Roman Reigns. Thrown out by Roman Reigns. I mean, you can't ask for more than that, right?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead,
I just want to say again that, like, I'm so pumped about this TNA partnership that they announced, and or even just, you know, their indie support thing that they're doing. Just for so long, WWE was like, yeah, no, nothing else exists, and just to like be embracing the wrestling community in that way, and just like, oh yeah, actually it makes sense for you to like shepherd in new talent and like help develop them if you want them to be future stars for your company, and it's like only mutual beneficial relationship. And I'm just so glad that we're at that point instead of what it used to be.
Absolutely, man.
Especially because, and what's tough too is like, I wouldn't say anything as arrogant as like, well, TNA isn't competition for WWE, and that's why they're working together. But that is kind of part of it. That being said, what's nice is that WWE will be helpful. One of my biggest theories, and like, we'll see if this happens or not, I think this man, John Cena, is going to be on TNA by the end of the year.
Wow.
He's falling over. I tried to stand him up.
This is your theory you've been teasing.
Well, one of two. Not only do I think he's going to be on TNA, I think John Cena is going to be taking a lot of L's this year. I really thought at first, I was like, and I've talked about this on the show before. He is connected to Superman, which releases in July. He's going to be doing press for that. Peacemaker comes out in August. He's going to be doing press for that. He's only wrestling. Why not have him show up to those press events with the literal, like, biggest gold advertisement for WWE that you could have around his waist? However, and that could still happen. Maybe that's why Cody's going to give up the belt. Maybe Cody beats Cena at the end of the year or something like that. But I think he's going to lose a lot this year. I think he's going to lose at the Chamber. I think he's going to lose. Spoiler alert for this, he lost the Royal Rumble in a big showing, and you could see the look on his face the minute it happened. That camera placement was perfect. And I think that's going to keep going. I think he knows having him do a reunion tour just to win a bunch of matches is dumb, helps nobody, and will just put him out on a note that like everybody hated about him a decade ago.
Right.
Like, you know, it would be the exact same kind of thing that people were tired of. You're like, you want to do a reunion tour? Yes, but of the hits, not the misses. And what's even better is I believe it was WWE 2K23, whatever the last one was that was focused on him, the storyline mode where you replayed some of his best matches was about like you were always playing as the other person, and the point was to beat him. So you were just literally beating John Cena over and over again, and he's in like a sound booth narrating as this happens. So he's shown that humility. He knows that winning gets him nothing, and him losing gets everybody else something. So Joe Hendry has made it clear that he wants to fight John Cena. I think John Cena might go over there and lose to Joe Hendry.
I love it. You know what?
It hurts nobody.
Andrew, if you don't mind, buddy, right here.
I got a few minutes. They're good. They've barely been napping. So No. I got a couple minutes.
In post-production, I'm going to insert John Cena's press statement during the post show right here, because it was phenomenal. One of the best he's ever done. I'm going to play that right now.
Here is the living legend, the farewell tour, John Cena.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for showing up. In these things, usually I field all the questions and go way too long. I would like to do something different tonight. I'd like to play a little game. It's called Who Can Get the Headline Out Fast Enough. So I'll be fielding no questions and trying to do my best to make a statement moving forward. In the 23 years I've been in this business, I know there are different perspectives about my path. But my truth is I've never used my opportunities for a spot that I haven't earned. Tonight was special for many reasons, but it has begun to sink in that it was my last Royal Rumble. And that Las Vegas, looking at the sign, it was down to 2, and I had a moment to let the energy sink in. I realized that Las Vegas is my last WrestleMania. The last time I main evented a WrestleMania was 2013. That's a long time ago. The reason that hasn't been at the forefront in my mind, I've been a gimmick, I've been the first match, I've been in the middle, I've shared beers with the fans. Because my truth, my perspective is I've always done what's best for business. Tonight, standing in that ring, I wanted this experience to be a tour of goodwill. I've openly admitted I don't know how much I have left in the tank. And I just wanted to do something that would be nice for all of us to get together and have a good time. Unfortunately tonight, it dawned on me that that's not best for business. What is best for business is I main event WrestleMania. And what is best for business is, for the first time, I confidently say that I'm going to win a 17th championship. So I'm announcing tonight that I will compete in the Elimination Chamber. And I'm saying that because after 23 years of loyal service to this company, I feel that opportunity is earned. And yes, I'm flying back to Hungary to film a movie, so what I'm going to do is give my 5 other opponents 1 month to slander my name and bolster their self-confidence the best that I can. I told Toronto when I announced my retirement that I was grateful for the city and I would be back. And I would be back to kick ass. It is time to walk that talk and be who I say I am. I am going to the Elimination Chamber to win, and I'm going to main event my final appearance in WrestleMania and win a 17th championship, because that's what's best for business. And I say that because it is not best for my ego. It is not best for my business. I have built my existence here off of hard work, loyalty to this company, and respect for all of its branches. I will win 17 not for me. I will win 17 to someday shake the hand of the person who wins 18. Thank you very much.
All right, and we're back. And yeah, dude, like John Cena's all in. This isn't just, like you said, like a return tour where he's just going to mess around and have fun. Like, he's serious now. He's serious. He's going to put people over, but he's also going to go for that 17th championship to break the record. So I'm excited, man.
And you know who's been real annoyed with him vocally? CM Punk.
Yeah, I remember that.
He's giving him, but no, he over the weekend he was giving him crap in interviews that were promoting this, talking about like, oh, Cena just gets to be in the Elimination Chamber because he says he does, and I have to wrestle in a qualifying match to get in there, whatever. And then when he was in Cleveland yesterday, he was taking pictures of all the like thank you Cena stuff and putting it on his Instagram. For a long time, I was like, oh, you know what? Let's have Randy Orton and John Cena run it back. And I kind of forgot that the last person that CM Punk was really feuding with was John Cena before he left. And we might get a taste of that. Might even get that at Mania. That would be a great Mania main event. You know what I mean? For one of the nights. So fingers crossed. I think they're all looking what's best for business right now. And Punk even... soon to be Hall of Fame inductee, Triple H. I think that's what they're focused on. I think that's Punk had another quote about how he was like, I'm an old lion, and an old lion doesn't get taken down by another old lion. Like a younger, hungrier animal is going to take me down, and that's what I want. And I think this year's Royal Rumble was showing that better than WWE has in a while, especially when it gets down. Let's just jump into it. Let's get Cena out of there. No, wait, real quick. Let's get towards the end, like the last 3 entrants, if you guys don't mind. Because I do think they are using Logan Paul correctly. And it pains me to say that. Having him come in at number 30, like they saw the genuine heat that Paul is getting, and they were like, let's stack on top of that. Let's have him come in at number 30, and let's have him eliminate CM Punk.
Oh my God. I have never felt that much visceral hate for another human being.
Sure. Yeah.
And I thought that was impossible with Logan Paul. Yeah. And that crowd just, oh my God.
They give him nothing, and I love
it. Yeah.
Because he's still very bad at handling that. He was on Raw last night and was getting the same thing, and he cannot handle the fact that people are booing him. And that gives me a kind of sick satisfaction. He can't even play into it in like an angry way, like he's trying, but it's just like Charlotte Flair was getting booed last night, and she handled those boos with aplomb. Like she's incredible.
She's a pro. Yeah.
Logan Paul can't handle it.
But okay, I didn't see Raw last night, but was it like go away heat? Or was it like
because he was also coming out and messing with Rey Mysterio. So they so it's a mix. They're just nobody likes him. And this was after the WWE crowds are smarter now. They read dirt sheets. A lot of that stuff is more easy to access. Something that we can't skip over is the fact that something happened. Drew McIntyre was so angry after the Raw that he was yelling about, or after the Rumble, that he was yelling about it backstage and then stormed out of the arena, right? And then you come to find out that it was because of somebody that was, and what it comes down to is wrestlers are either apparently very mad at LA Knight or very mad at Logan Paul, and we don't have a definitive answer yet. But I could see
why can't it be both?
It could be both. You have one person that's inexperienced who's trying to get themselves over, and you have one person who I would say WWE has kind of mishandled in LA Knight. I think they like him, but they're still not using him well yet. And this was his first Rumble, which is insane. Because I remember
believe that,
because last year he was fighting in the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match against Bray Wyatt, if I remember correctly. That was last year's Rumble, the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match.
I think that was
years ago.
A Survivor Series.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Was it?
But he was like in a match that was
he was in a Slim Jim match, wasn't he? I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah, didn't he win the Slim Jim car?
Hey, you put some respect on Slim Jim's name. Slim Jim wanting to pull their sponsorship is why Vince McMahon is gone, and that's the only reason.
Very good point.
They threatened to pull their sponsorship, and that man was gone overnight.
That's fair.
Putting him there.
Put him there. Before you do that, Andrew, we should mention we had the return of AJ Styles. I just wanted to squeeze that in there.
Yes,
the phenomenal.
Who's now on Raw thanks to the transfer portal that we all know a lot about.
It's a thing that exists.
Thing that exists.
I don't even want to talk about it. It's pointless. It's stupid.
I like it better than the draft, at least. I think it's silly if they're going to have their silly stuff. But draft's nonsense. I love
the draft. I love the draft. Don't hate on the draft.
I just don't. Okay, so we were talking about like leaning into the legitimate sports stuff with the ticker and presentation. I think this is where I draw the line. Just like I don't need a whole episode of like, who's gonna go where when it doesn't matter. None of it matters.
Keep talking if you guys keep talking, because I'm just gonna get the kids real quick. But keep going. I'm not leaving yet.
I want their opinion on the transfer portal.
All right, that's fair. That's fair, man. There was one other thing, Joey, I wanted to bring up before we get to oh my God. So, Andrew and I talked about how stacked this men's Royal Rumble was going to be, but until the entrances actually started to happen later in the Rumble, like it didn't really hit. I mean, you had in a row, if not maybe a couple scattered in between, but you had obviously Cena came in, but then you had CM Punk, you had Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Sami Zayn, and then you also had Seth Rollins. All came in like at the same time in between one another. And it was just crazy. Like there was never really a moment to breathe because of how big the superstars were that were in this Royal Rumble. So I guess before we get to the winner, which, we all know at this point, and just got him alone in the ring here on the screen. But Who did you think was going to win the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble? Who did and who did you want to win?
I wanted Jey Uso to win.
Okay.
Anytime there's, I don't know, Jey Uso felt like this was the perfect opportunity. We've seen how over he is. The crowd loves him. He's great. And this is the moment to like pull that trigger. Like they, could have gone safe and had Roman win or, something along those lines. But I think there was a palpable sense, especially with Jey Uso being in title matches and stuff recently and doing a lot of, true to his name, main eventing. And it just felt like if you want to explode the roof off of this arena, have him win. And I think we were proved correctly. Everyone was super excited, left on a real feel-good note. So I think that was definitely who I wanted to win. But I've also always gone into Rumbles with this like hope that they would do something fresh and new and different. And then you come away with Randy Orton winning, and it's like, okay, so, I was worried that Cena was going to win, especially when it came down to the two of them. But then I was very, very happy to see that they did the right thing. And I think, yeah, it was just, it made me feel about the Royal Rumble how I used to feel before I was like a little more, I'm not going to say cynical, but more aware of sort of the behind the scenes things and how schedules work and all that sort of stuff. It made me feel like a kid in a fun way of like, just like this guy, just made me feel like being his age again,
Absolutely, man.
And I also want to say, like, just in general, an MVP of this entire show for me was Wade Barrett, who I've loved since Bad News Barrett and since the like OG NXT
Barrett so much.
Yeah, and he called Jey Uso the Yeetmeister, and I was like, I love you, Bad News Barrett.
Oh my God, Wade Barrett made a lot of interesting comments throughout the night. I mean,
so
he was the one to acknowledge, unfortunately, poor Lyra Valkyria's wardrobe malfunction during the women's Royal Rumble, which we should credit Liv Morgan. Hi, buddy. He's starstruck. As are we. He was the one to acknowledge the wardrobe malfunction that Liv Morgan went over and helped her cover and saved her on that. So that was pretty cool. Oh, we're holding that thought.
Thoughts. I liked seeing that moment. I mean, I felt bad because like what a disaster, but I liked seeing in real time how everyone like acknowledged what was happening, saw it happening, and like production kind of moved away from them. They went to the corner, the camera shifted to the other side of the ring.
Oh yeah.
Like, action ended up happening over there just to like cover for that while they figured it out. And I liked seeing that little moment of like improvisation that was happening. That was really fun.
They killed it. Professionals through and through.
But also, I would have had a breakdown if something like that happened to me on that stage. I would just I would have just ran into the back and never been seen again.
This is why DEI is important. Stay with me. So,
God, here we go.
She starts having. Oh yeah, here we go. She starts having that wardrobe malfunction. The male referees are trying to help her, and if you watch, Aja Smith is running around the outside of the ring.
I saw that
over there. Yep, and all of a sudden, then she's back. Yep, really incredible stuff. Hold on.
Thank you for that attribution there, Andrew. That was fantastic. Well, I mean, to fast forward back to this, Jey Uso, I mean, huge surprise win in the Royal Rumble. I can say this. It's not who I thought was going to win. It's not who I wanted to win. I honestly
want to win.
I wanted CM Punk. I was going for Punk.
Okay.
But I'll be damned if I didn't get out of my seat and like start applauding and like jumping up and down like a 12-year-old to see Jey Uso stunned that he won. Like literally, they cut to his face in the ring, and he's as shocked as we were, and he's just saying, "I won." It was so endearing, so just real. And again, like the look of shock on John Cena's face as well. It just was played perfectly, in my opinion. I could not
really
think,
well done.
Oh my God, man. A+. This men's Royal Rumble is, I think, the best I've ever personally seen. I haven't seen them all, but it was pretty darn close.
Definitely Andrew, the best one in a long time.
I think so. I think so. Let's throw it to you, buddy. What did you two think?
He hasn't watched it yet. You want to say hi to everybody? No thanks. Okay. So, which is fair. That's his right. That's his right. Yeah.
That is totally
his face in the video.
I will.
He doesn't want to be part of this. But I thought Punk was going to win. I thought when he got flipped over, he landed right on his butt. And that looked awful to me. But he's okay, I guess. He wrestled really well last night. Jey Uso, I need wrestling to stop making me cry. I need that. It's not easy. It's not hard to make me cry, but the man brought his son into the ring later on, after he won and was celebrating with him. That was incredible. Last night, he spent the first 5 minutes of Raw just soaking in the crowd being psyched for him.
Yeah.
Psyched. Amazing. It's the crowd. It's a perfect storm of opportunity meets not even preparation meets opportunity. Just it's like Joey was just saying, it was the perfect time to do this for him. He's perfect for it. I am so excited to see him go up against Gunther again at WrestleMania. I think they've been building that in such a way that the roof is going to explode in Las Vegas when he beats Gunther. Mm-hmm. It's going to explode. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think this was the best choice. I think he's crushing it I think he's just crushing it. It's been really incredible to watch how much growth he's gone through, even just in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Amen. I feel for Jimmy. So.
Oof.
Oh man, that poor guy. That poor guy. Yeah.
He'll have his time. But you know what? Yeah. It's Jay's time. And I think you're right, Andrew. I think this is perfect time. He's finally main event Jey Uso. He's living up to the term, and I think he's gonna carry it so well. WWE, this is when WWE has a plan. They know.
Right.
And it's just I couldn't think of a better way to end the Royal Rumble 2025, to be honest.
Yeah, and to get into something real quick too that we were kind of touched on, Randy Orton not in the Rumble at all.
Yeah, were you surprised by that?
New Day not in the Rumble at all. It's crazy. They really just. I was a little surprised only because the Rumble is usually a time to kind of throw everybody out there. But what's nice is instead they were just showing off the kind of people that they're working the most right now. Orton might be injured though, angle wise. Now that I think about it, or kayfabe injured.
Didn't he get pile drived? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, by Kevin Owens. Yeah.
Which Andrew, we'll fast forward. We'll do Raw very quick because some important things happen. Then we're gonna cut it. Joey will be right back. We'll wrap things up. But amazing Royal Rumble. If you had to give it a letter grade A through D, what would you give it?
A+.
Agreed.
A+. And that being said, I did not see what I have been told was maybe one of the slower matches of the night. But A+. I thought the Rumble itself was incredible. So yeah, I'm all in. I just think they did it perfect. The ending was great, and then Raw was one of the best Raws I've watched in a while. The Raw was all building off of what happened in a way that felt really spectacular, and having some chamber matches, chamber qualifying matches, just incredible stuff.
Yeah.
It's a great time to be a wrestling fan.
Oh, it's fantastic. So at Monday Night Raw, we had Jay and Charlotte both cut promos, which was fantastic. Great to hear from both of them. We had New Day premiered a new entrance, music and outfits and stuff like that.
It was great. Oh man, and they look rad. They look great.
I think they look fantastic. Love the music. I love what they're doing. You said 2 elimination chamber matches, qualifying matches. We had Liv Morgan versus Io Sky. Liv Morgan won after Rhea interfered. So maybe setting something up against Io and Rhea. I don't know.
We'll see. I could see them maybe fighting at the Chamber, but I thought that was kind of a fun, like, Rhea was trying to help and ended up costing Io the match. It was really, it was fun. It was a fun work. And that's one of the things I like about Elimination Chamber too, is it kind of puts people like Liv Morgan in a position where she can't like slink her way out of things,
right?
Or eat her way out of things.
Absolutely.
And then the match is Sami Zayn and CM Punk put on a clinic. It was the first time they ever wrestled each other, and it was incredible.
Really, I didn't know it was the first time. Holy cow!
That's what they kept saying. Yeah, so
like ever, or like in WWE history.
They said ever, and I believe CM Punk left Ring of Honor like right before Sami Zayn got there, or like right as Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were building up there. So
passing ships in the wind, buddy. Wow.
Because I was reading a story about how CM Punk and Kevin Owens have like legitimate heat between each other because CM Punk called out Kevin Owens for wearing cutoff sleeves and shorts as his wrestling outfit in front of everyone, and Kevin Owens rightfully has not forgotten that.
Did not like that.
Yeah. Gentlemen, I have to run. To run. But thank you both so much. Joey, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Anytime.
Talking wrestling. Go read Shit Kickers on Global Comics. It is worth your time. It's a great book. I love Joey's work so much. And he often sends me artwork that I get to fawn over. Andrea's artwork on Shit Kickers is incredible. It's next level. It is deserving of Joey's talents. So please go read that book.
Thanks, man.
Of course. Love you both so much.
Love
Ryan,
you, buddy.
Fill in some plugs for me.
Oh, I got you, buddy. Andrew, before you go,
right?
you gotta check these out, baby.
Yeah.
Those homemade?
Yes, I can't see it.
August, can you say bye-bye to everybody?
Bye-bye.
Bye, August. Yeet, buddy.
Yeet. Say bye, Isaiah. You can say bye. Come on. Now he wants to say bye-bye.
Here, Isaiah.
Bye.
See ya.
Perfect.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Aww. I love it. Joey, we were just wrapping up Monday Night Raw. We had 2 Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. Liv Morgan won, so she will be going to the Chamber, and CM Punk won against Sami Zayn. At the end of Raw, Kevin Owens came in and beat the crap out of Sami and gave him a pile driver. So, yeah, man.
They're pulling the trigger on that finally.
They really are. So we will see what happens. I'm just glad to see Kevin Owens is alive after the Royal Rumble.
Spot was just like, oh, he's dead.
He's dead.
It was like 5 minutes later where they were like checking on him, and he was still just like in the same position, upside down. Jesus Christ.
He really played into it. I loved it, man. But we're going to wrap things up, Joey, with the Royal Rumble 2025. But we want to know from you, Andrew and I both gave our letter grades, but what would you give overall A to D, the Royal Rumble 2025?
I would give it an A. Honestly.
Okay.
Like, even though the tag match was kind of a nothing match because of the ending, the ladder match was great. The women's rumble was good, and the men's rumble was great. And really, like, even with the winner of the women's match being a known quantity in Charlotte, and people can be upset about that, I guess, if they want. But also, I think you can't overlook the number of NXT women who were there and who all got time to shine, and just really, like, I'm sure there's plenty of WWE fans who don't necessarily watch NXT, and they got to see some new talent. And I don't know, like, I think that's really important to give them their time in the spotlight like that. So that was awesome to see. And with Jay winning, there was just a lot of elevation of new faces and fresh talent. And I think that's only a positive thing. And like we were talking about, like, Jay winning just really had shades of being a kid, and like when things were unpredictable and exciting. And I really loved it.
That's awesome, man. You put it so eloquently. That is definitely Royal Rumble 2025 encapsulated. A's across the board. Way to go, WWE. They pulled it off yet again. It makes me very excited on the road to WrestleMania. But Joey, before we go, what is on the road for you, buddy? Give us those socials. Give us the projects one more time, if you don't mind.
Sure. So the Pedestrian Volume 1 is on sale now. You can get it at your local comic shop or bookstores. Shit Kickers is available to read for free on Global Comics. And come find us on Zoop and give us a little cash to get these print comics made. And I'm on Blue Sky at Joey Esposito. Same for Instagram. And yeah, it's mostly just pictures of my pets and comic book stuff and some wrestling. So come hang out.
As it should be. Sounds like a good triumvirate right there, my friend. Well, Joey, buddy, you are the honorary friend of the show. You are always welcome. We love having you here for these. So you know what that means. I'm putting the pressure on you once again. Whatever you want, whatever it means to you, please ring that symbolic bell and get us somewhere out of the ring, if you don't mind.
Just going classic. Ding, ding, ding.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Joey, thank you once again, buddy.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Awesome. And where'd they go? We'll end with this, guys.
Yeet.
A yeet.
This has been Somewhere in the Ring. Thank you for listening. Subscribe wherever you get your pods, and be sure to rate and review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever possible. We'll see you again soon, somewhere in the ring.